Так, я надеюсь, я уже в эфире. Я снимаю заглушку. В общем, продолжаем. Долго я не смог отдыхать. На этот раз Summer of Gaming от IGN, второй день. Он вот-вот стартует. Вчера показали буквально... Ну, вчера показали на Summer of Gaming 2-3 интересных игры, что мы прям запали в память. Поэтому я ожидаю, что сегодня тоже могут что-то интересное показать. И что самое главное, больше, чем на Escapist Showcase, которая была 20 минут назад. Закончилась. Я надеюсь, все работает. Я сейчас проверю, перезапустилась ли трансляция. Да, трансляция перезапустилась, все хорошо. Да, и оповещение пришло. Все замечательно.
Welcome back to IGN's Summer of Gaming. It's a multi-day streaming extravaganza packed with brand new trailers, next-gen reveals, exclusive announcements, and never-before-seen gameplay. Exclusively here on IGN.
Ну, это уже намного серьезнее, конечно.
IGN's own Summer of Gaming Expo Day 2 kicks off, where we'll be showing off tons of brand new games and speaking with the people behind them, like Samurai Jack creator Gendy Tartakovsky, who's bringing world premiere gameplay from Samurai Jack Battle Through Time. But we can't spoil all the surprises in this intro. Prepare yourself, because for the next few hours, you won't want to miss a beat. IGN's Summer of Gaming Expo number 2 starts right now.
Ну, смотрим. Вы сказали пару часов, но я сомневаюсь. Потому что через 1,5 часа уже Sony, собственно. А они тут говорят о Sony и не хотят его перебивать. Поэтому... Блин, переходы прикольные. Ну и вообще, мне нравится то, что я вижу. Это прикольно. Довольно драйвово. Я бы так описал это.
Create a diversion. Bad place to be.
И визуал именно с селшейдингом прикольный. Под комиксы сделанный. Классно. Типа борды какой-нибудь там условно, я не знаю.
Jones, do you read me?
Use the scope. I'll cover you. Come on!
Alpha to the burger. Suspicious individuals.
Who am I?
13? Что? Игра называется 13? Ну, 13 просто. Странно, окей. Ну, типа, выглядит она прикольно.
Hey, IGN Summer of Gaming has just begun, but you probably already knew that because we've been promoting this since April. I'm one of your hosts, Cindy Goodman, and joining me are Up at Noons, Max Scoville, and Brian Altano.
Hey, Sid. Normally in June we would come to you live
Опять американская версия Максима Мелезева.
Massive trade show to check out brand new video games for a whole week straight, but this year we are doing things a little bit differently, and instead of just 1 week, we are bringing you multiple weeks of completely ballooned out, overstacked gaming coverage, which is good for you, and I don't know if that's great for our mental health, but we'll make do.
We'll make it work.
Да,
we'll be carrying all the
давайте
big video game
говорим.
announcement streams being dropped by all your favorite publishers and studios, so you can get all your info, IGN and otherwise, in one place, which is right here. And we're doing it for a good cause too. Throughout our summer of gaming, we're
А,
hosting
вот
a
отчет,
slew
собственно,
of gaming
да,
events
у
for
них
charity. You
даже
might have
есть
caught
отчет до
Titanfall 2
конференции
speedrun
Sony
before we
в
started.
углу.
We're doing one of those each day before our coverage kicks off to raise money for the World Health Organization and the Bail Project. Later on today, we'll have special Summer of Gaming episodes of our regular series and potentially even more important Sony's State of Play showcase, which was widely expected to be the first reveal of the actual PlayStation 5, potentially even the box itself, which we haven't seen, despite talking about it for years now.
You know, I think if they hype that up and show PS4 games, people will be pissed. Anyway, on Tuesday, June 16th, we'll be getting an intimate look at some celebrity homes and Animal Crossing Islands as these celebrities take us on virtual tours on stream to raise money in support of the COVID-19 response fund. And
давайте уже показывайте что-нибудь, я устал.
You can donate at donate.ign.com
Слушать
or by
вас.
following the links in the video description. Make sure you check in all month long for non-stop gaming news. And if you're watching from your living room, you can even watch it all on channel IGN1 on your Samsung TV Plus.
Check out the full schedule at IGN.com. You can also follow IGN on the TikTok app. Search for IGN's Summer of Gaming hashtag to
Ну,
unlock
конечно,
a
они
bunch of
как и
bonus
вчера, они
content
сейчас
and
будут
to upload
свои
your
тамблеры
very own
продвигать,
awesome gameplay
свои
clips.
каналы,
Anyway,
свои
enough delightful
ТикТок
talk from
и так
three
далее, все это
gorgeous
прочее. Это
professional
понятно, это
presenters.
IGN.
I think very highly of us.
Disagree.
Oh, that we're not gorgeous, or that it's not enough talk from us?
I think it's the word professional, really. That's the one that I get hung up on that. Look at this. Look at this nonsense.
Fair enough.
Both of you are wildly unprofessional, and that's why I'm very excited to work with you. All right, it's time to get things kicked off with a bang. A fresh stack of brand new game trailers only here as part of IGN Expo Day 2, deep in the heart of the summer of gaming. That sounded threatening, but it's going to be really fun. Roll it!
Давайте что-нибудь показываем. Эксклюзив ревью.
My name is Evan
Мерч.
My identity has been foreclosed.
You are
On
in a
Top
stalemate,
Studio.
Mr. Kapnos. Until the auctioning, your ID is going to be suspended.
The implants we get at birth are state property. Corporations buy the ID debt from the state. Your implants are not exactly compliant.
Киберпанк опять, короче, какой-то. Да. Сколько можно киберпанка? Я уже устал от киберпанка, серьезно. Один киберпанк везде. Какие-то импланты, способности. Неплохо. Идея интересна. Ну, типа, как интересно, в рамках киберпанка эта идея, это ни о чем. Она лежит на поверхности. Импланты, это все, блин, было уже миллион раз и очень много где. Foreclosed. Эксклюзив. Сейчас будет рассказывать про нее. А нет, другой что-то покажет. The Iron North. Ну, может быть. Кишки разлетаются. Это я точно могу сказать. Пошаговые сражения, в общем, понятно. Выглядит неплохо. Уже есть страница, только где, не понял я. О, что-то цветастое. И это кооперативное будет. Ну это кооперативное безумие, как раз таки, о котором я говорил буквально час назад. Такие игры для стримов идеальны и для компашки большой, ну там, в зависимости от того, сколько игра позволяет. Ну тут я вот смотрю, 6 человек играют спокойно. Интересно, неплохо. Они еще и матерятся. Бойл, построй свою игру. Бленкос. Один за одним прям. Видимо, они уплотнились, чтобы успеть к PlayStation конференции. А вот эту игру уже показывали. Только другой трейлер был, по-моему. Короче, да, эту игру показывали на Escapist Showcase, но с другим трейлером, по-моему. Или это не та игра, но очень похожа на нее. Сценарий. А, нет, наверное, другая все-таки игра была. Нет, там был Stronghold Warlords, а вот тут вряд ли это Stronghold, хотя может быть. Похоже чем-то на Stronghold. Вполне может быть, что это и второй трейлер Stronghold. Какой-нибудь, которого не было на шоу-кейсе. Играйте в кооперативе. Не, ну сражение выглядит бодро. Это все, что я могу сказать, как бы. Да, это Stronghold Warlord, собственно, да, дорогой трейлер просто. Fortnite? Что? Нет, ну, конечно, не Fortnite, шучу, но просто очень похоже было падение в начале. Какая-то битва магов, что ли? Может, какой-нибудь Battle Royale про магов? Почему нет? Ну, выглядит бодро. Достаточно бодро. Так. Сейчас я отвлекусь на момент. Spellbreak. Да, это, тем более эта игра уже, по-моему, вышла. Вроде она выходила. Ну, окей, она может быть на консоли выходит просто.
Oh, hey, check out spellbreak.com/IGN to get a free exclusive in-game skin. Coming up later in the expo, we've got tons of never-before-seen trailers and interviews with the developers of some of the hottest upcoming titles. But right now, it's Samurai time! Samurai! Cartoon lovers should be no stranger to Samurai Jack, the time-traveling swordsman whose long-running cartoon adventures came to an end in 2017. Well, now he's back in video game form. We got a chance to talk about it with Samurai Jack creator Gendy Tartakovsky. Max, take it away. Samurai!
Так, секундочку, я просто тут...
Samurai Jack's animated adventures came to a grand
Samurai
finale in
Jack?
2017, but now this time-traveling samurai is back in Samurai Jack Battle Through Time, a brand new original video game. Here to tell us about it, I'm joined by Samurai Jack's creator and animation legend, Gendy Tartakovsky.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Well, thanks for making a
Сейчас
bunch of
расскажешь
amazing
про
cartoons
Самурая
that
Джека
have,
маленько.
clearly inspired my own personal laboratory. Let's talk about Samurai Jack. This is
Я пока
this
сделаю
is a
обложку
brand new
для
story. It's
PS5.
by Derek Bachman. It takes place within the sort of Samurai Jack timeline, but like walk us through exactly sort of where and when, aside from through time, this is taking place.
Well, I think it kind of picks up right where we were finishing the last season, the finale of the whole thing, and it starts. You know, we created a new mythology where it kind of starts as an alternate timeline, and Aku sends Jack through that timeline, and now, of course, Jack has to fight his way back and defeat Aku. But this time, the adventures are kind of similar, fresher, because for the first time, you actually get to control Jack and really fight all those amazing villains and henchmen and have the friends along the way that we've experienced through watching the show.
Now, this is the first Samurai Jack game in 16 years. There was the PS2 game that came out in 2004. Can you sort of talk about sort of the difference in perception of not just Samurai Jack, but kind of video games in general? It feels like it's you're under the Adult Swim mantle this time around. Which does that give you any more sort of leeway?
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, 16 years ago, it was video games were, especially for licensed characters, for a kids TV show, so to speak. You kind of get the B-class treatment, right? You just kind of go into whatever engine they have. They do some new graphics, but generally it's not great. And they were doing it while I was in production on the show, so it's hard for me to be super involved. And because it takes a commitment and a love to do this right, even for video games, for a TV show, for anything. And so it kind of came out and it kind of lacked what we all thought a video game could be. And then now fast forward here, the show is more popular. The show has existed for 16 years more, and people have really gone to love it. And there's a more respect towards it. So the new game is a lot more what we wanted it back then, and even more. So it's completely different from
Так,
my
я
point from what it
сделал.
was to how far it's come
Теперь
now.
можно немножко отвлечься.
Very cool. Well, let's talk about the gameplay a little bit here. Obviously, we're going
Через
to see
71
lots of
минуту.
sword swinging action because he's a samurai after all. But we also got sort of a polearm.
Ну,
here,
может
some
быть,
magic
Самурая
coming
Джека
out of it.
действительно нужно
We got a
было
shot of him in the
делать
trailer with a heavy
псевдо-мультяшным,
firepower.
потому что...
Sort of can you tell us about the combat a little bit?
Да,
I mean, I think
действительно.
it's, inspired by,
Потому что это Самурай Джек, камон.
samurai stuff, the classic. But just like in the
Но в
show,
целом
Jack's
выглядит
able to use a
бодро,
lot
именно
of
сам
what's
геймплей
around
мне
him,
нравится.
to be inventive, and I think there's some stuff where he actually uses one of the coup drone's arms, and he slashes with it. There's a bow and arrow, I think, and so there's a lot of variation. There's a trident, like we see here, and also taking cue from when Jack was lost in the last finale season. He also uses some guns and stuff where we never would have him use a gun.
Ну и, кстати, окружение, да, тоже вот в окружении я смотрю достаточно детальное. То есть там какие-то ленты, какие-то знаки, какие-то трубы, что-то еще, мусор он валяется. То есть для такой графики окружение хорошо проделано. Работа над окружением хорошо проделана.
Some other villains to come in all the different various environments.
Nice, and you've got some familiar returning characters as well, I hear.
Yes, of course. I mean, you could never do it without the Scotsman, and here, of course, is Demongo, who's one of the fan favorites, always has been.
Это интересно.
And what's also fantastic is we were able to use the original voice cast, right? I mean, besides Mako, of course, who passed away. But yeah, so there's an authenticity to it that I think is sometimes you don't get in other games based on properties.
This is awesome.
По сути,
Now,
такой,
something I'm really curious about,
грубо
this is
говоря,
developed by,
детский
Select,
слэшерок.
which is a studio based out of
Почему
Japan.
нет? Имеет место быть.
Obviously, Samurai Jack is a Western cartoon heavily influenced by Japanese media and culture, and now you've got a Japanese team developing a game based on that. Can you talk a little bit about that relationship?
It's been really good. I mean, I think for whenever you do
Странно,
these
что тут
things,
даже расчлененка
it's
есть, хотя
always
казалось
great
бы,
if
Самурай
there's
Джек.
a fondness and appreciation from the team that's actually going to be doing all the work. If it's just all about
Souls-like
money and
детский.
they feel like they could take advantage of
Но
the name of
ты
the property,
это
then it
самое,
becomes
детей
kind of,
совсем не
they don't
жалеешь.
understand the essence of it. But I know, like Derek, who wrote this, he traveled to Japan and he met with them and he walked into their offices and they had Samurai Jack posters and they were asking about me, so they were appreciative of it. And doing even I remember back then when I first started the show and it actually started to air in Japan, I was really worried. I'm like, oh no, they found out I'm a fake. They'll see through everything I've done.
Но не настолько же жестоко.
Of whatever fan or appreciation that I had of Japanese culture and especially the samurai code and culture, they would still know that I'm a phony. But so I remember I was at the studio once and we had some visitors from Japan.
Там будет кастомизация?
You know, they were just
Или я что-то потерял?
And this is years ago.
А на каком должен быть канале стримим? Мы не стримим на канале с видосиками. Этот канал... Окей, можно назвать он-лайв канал теперь. Мы просто забываем все переименовать его маленько. Но по сути, да. Стримы проходят здесь.
I love that. So now, obviously, like Samurai Jack has been around for almost 20 years, and people who, you know, maybe were watching Samurai Jack as kids are now adults and they're out, you know, making video games and stuff. Have you sort of had any encounters with people working on the game who fanboy out and get completely, you know, overwhelmed by it, or is it?
Ну, уровень на поезде. Это прям классика.
In general, I think, you know, like you said, it's been around for so long, it's been able to influence a lot of artists going into video games and animation in general. And so when I go to conventions and all that kind of stuff and I meet these people, you know, when I was influenced by, you know, Bugs Bunny,
как-то странно, оружие стреляет маленько, правда. Выше, чем сам ствол.
Most of them were all gone, if not all of them. And so I was never really able to meet any of the people who inspired me to go into animation, and now it's been pretty incredible.
Я чувствую, после сегодняшнего вечера у меня завтра голос охрипнет так, что восстанавливать я его буду несколько дней. Потому что он уже начал оседать маленько. Я это чувствую. Да-да-да, с мушки стреляет, как-то очень странно. Но, видимо, ранее еще какой-то билд совсем. Поэтому да.
It's such a huge honor to inspire anybody, really.
That's phenomenal. That's really cool to hear. Now, I have to ask, you mentioned it very briefly there, Popeye. Do you have any word on the Popeye movie that I heard you were working on at one point?
Кстати, прикольно сделан уровень.
No comment on any of that stuff. So.
Атмосферненько.
Fair enough. I had to ask, though. Fingers crossed. Thank you so much, Gendy. This was a huge pleasure.
Ну все, он закончил болтать. Сейчас. Поэтому нам сейчас покажу что-нибудь новенькое и интересненькое. Здесь не приходится переживать, что я не успею на PS5 конференцию, потому что они сами пишут, что она вот через столько-то, поэтому... Вот, да, через час 06. Поэтому... Эксклюзивный новый геймплей. Покажу сейчас. Star Renegades. Опять какая-то игра с пошаговой боевкой, но визуальный стиль мне нравится. Такой какой-то, не знаю, техно-киберпанк, как это назвать? Да-да-да, биомеханика, вот прям как-то так, да. Ну, не особо. Показали Самурая Джека, ну, игру по Самураю Джеку. А так, из интересного, ну, были пара индюшек, ну, такое, прям, инди. Пока ничего важного не показали. Конференция Sony через час 4 минуты, вон там в углу пишут.
If you like Tom, I have great news because he will be right back to tell us all about Iron Oath along with one of the game's developers. But first, a little tiny break. Stay tuned.
IGN Summer of Gaming is brought to you by Fuser, who'll be partying with us all summer long.
Извиняюсь за это, что у меня голос подсел. Ну, правильно, это уже почти четвертый час идет стрима, и я просто ни в каком состоянии. А у меня еще как минимум часа 3 стрима впереди. В общем, не знаю, как я это переживу. Нет, это не PS5 Future of Games пришел, нет. Это IGN Expo. После него через час начнется, в общем, PS5 конференция. Через час. Я ее точно так же буду стримить, поэтому, если хотите, можете просто через час подойти. В 23 часа по Москве ровно. И тут будет стрим конференции PlayStation 5.
Let's plays and live streams, IGN brings you all the coverage you need, no matter where you are. IGN, the #1 source for all games and entertainment fans worldwide.
Тут сейчас реклама, поэтому...
Да,
Да, потому что я вчера под конец стрима все-таки смог настроить все это дело как следует. И сегодня у меня все настроено.
We invite you to ride along with the developers as they react to, question, and enjoy some of the most skilled players exploiting and speeding through a game it took years of their
Так,
life
ребятки,
to create.
напишите ко мне в чат, кто сидит, что вы вообще ожидаете от презентации Соньки? Почему нет? Почему сейчас об этом не поговорить, пока идет реклама IGN-овская?
News, games, and more is IGN's live news show every day of the week that covers all the day's news about games, movies, comics, and of course more. This is our daily live show that takes a rotating cast of IGN talent, going over all
Эйзик 8, ну, скажем так, то, что покажут Эйзик, по моим ощущениям, 80%. Ну, то есть, реально, Эйзик, скорее всего, покажут, как мне кажется. То есть, слишком уж много слухов о нем ходило, и, типа, должен быть. А вот Silent Hill, я очень хочу, чтобы показали Silent Hill, но тут уже вероятность намного ниже. Хотя слухи опять же ходили.
Great. Doing very good. How about you?
Good. Thank you so much for joining me. We're here to talk about your game, The Iron Oath. So, just to set it up, tell me a bit about the game. What is The Iron Oath?
I think, like at its core, the game is about taking a mercenary company and just like living the life of a mercenary, like owning your own mercenary guild and managing all of that.
The Iron
sort of like
Oath.
Just the main thing that you'll be doing.
And that's through, as we're seeing here, pull up,
РПГшка какая-то, пошаговая.
text-based gameplay, right? It's a
Ну, собственно, это та как раз, которую показывали в начале. Судя по всему. Пошаговая что-то. РПГ или не РПГ, уж тут я не знаю.
And one of the things I wanted to touch on too is you guys started out on Kickstarter, I believe.
Yeah.
When? How long?
2017.
2017. So that you've gone along like 3 years now. How has kind of that journey been?
It's been longer than we wanted it to, but you know we've made a lot of improvements to the game, and you know we've come a long way, and we're really happy with the state that it's in and where it's going, and really excited for people to get their hands on it, hopefully soon.
Well, since we're seeing it right now, since we're seeing the combat, let's talk about that first. There's a lot of different flavors of turn-based tactics and hex-based stuff and all that sort of goodness. What kind of sets the Iron Oath apart? What did you want out of the combat? What's important to you? And what are players basically going to be thinking about? Like, what do you want them to think about while they're fighting?
Что-то какой-то они геймплей странный подобрали маленько. Именно для презентации. Хотя, возможно, она и есть такая вот неторопливая, что, в принципе, как по мне, не очень. Игра может быть пошаговой и неторопливой, но когда она совсем неторопливая, это прям не очень.
So we kind of that's our main focus, just like having powerful characters who are unique, and then just like Fire Lance.
Сейчас я проверю кое-что еще.
And the Lance, he's a melee fire mage, so he's an example of that. And basically, like, we really just wanted to. Sorry.
I was just saying, initially he was just a guy that stood in the back throwing fireballs, and we decided, like, that'd be kind of boring if we just completely took the tropes of every RPG and instead decided to give like a little bit of a twist on all of them. So instead of just standing back and throwing fireballs, he gets up and close and deals fire damage.
Да,
like that.
на Фейсбуке тоже работает чат, все нормально. Потому что я не знал, будет ли работать чат в Фейсбуке.
We already saw it a little bit earlier, but one character placed a little fire sigil, and then another character knocked them into that, which then knocked that person farther away.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's a lot of synergies between abilities. Like the Pyrolancer places down that hex, and then there's a lot of abilities that can push or can pull, and so you gotta try to plan ahead.
Facebook я просто стримлю буквально второй раз, поэтому с ним пока мне еще непонятно, как работать.
Just then he was standing on the little glowing hex, and that one, if you're standing on it, you can't use certain abilities. So you have to like really plan out where you're going to go, and that was created by one of the enemies attacking. It spawned that beneath him, so you have to move around. But then also you have to really think about where you're going to move to, because like Dungeons and Dragons, there's like attack of opportunities. So if you get close to someone and then move away, they're going to get like a free hit against you. So you can't just move off of that hex. You have to really like think about what you're going to do. Is it worth taking the damage from the movement?
Yeah, it's funny. I feel like attack of opportunities is something that I would think I've seen more of.
Слишком, как по мне, немного болтают, потому что когда троллерочки идут один за другим, все-таки как-то поинтереснее это дело. То есть я как бы понимаю, что иногда нужно растягивать игры, говорить, но нужно подбирать тщательнее, о какой игре говорить, потому что вот тут, конкретно, что тут рассказывать? Это обычная пошаговая штука, тут как бы не особо сложно понять, о чем она и как она играется.
So if she needs to get out of somewhere, she can use that to make a whole lot of distance, and then we have other abilities that can knock back, and then that allows you to walk away without getting hit with the attack of opportunities. There's like environmental hazards, like in a later part there's like grass on the ground, and if you're standing in the grass you can freely move through that and not get hit with an attack of opportunity.
Перемещение между по карте глобальный какой-то большой. Ну не то что глобальный, а по карте.
Outside of combat, but this part of it, you're walking between towns, you're taking on missions as part of this mercenary company, right?
Yeah, this is where you'll be doing like half of the game. Half of the game is kind of in these dungeons doing combat. The other half is where you're actually managing your guild and exploring the world. And like just then what happened was it was moving to a town, and there was like a dynamic event that happened that said that you've encountered this person that looks like they're in trouble, and you could choose to help them or not help them. So that's where like a lot of the
Дико извиняюсь, пришлось немножко отвлечься. Что ж у меня с языком? Блин, я в предложение сказал, как будто у меня, не знаю.
Yeah, there's a lot of like text-based encounters. That's part of the inspiration is from D&D in that aspect. It's just,
да, это прям герои, вот эти какие-нибудь там, я не знаю. Это прям оно. Это герои. Диабло не очень на самом деле. Ну, хотя, если только первую Диабло, то да. Но больше все равно героев напоминает. Именно героев конкретно. Я вот все пытался вспомнить, как называется игра, которая напоминает, да, герой.
Like the Band of the Hawk, the manga, and I always thought that would be like really fun to really like play out, a scenario like that.
Ну, как по мне, как я уже сказал, она чересчур какая-то медитативная, то есть, я не знаю. Мне было бы сложно играть в такую игру именно из-за своей неусидчивости, скажем так.
So they're each class, you recruit them, and they age, they retire, or they die in combat, and then you'll eventually have to replace them by recruiting new people. So the classes themselves, there's 8 classes that we'll be launching with, and they're not tied to a person. The person is dynamically generated whenever you need to recruit someone, and yeah, you just recruit them, you train them up. They have traits, they have personality traits, and there's different skills that you can level up within. You know, they have like their abilities.
В общем, качать персонажей можно, скиллы качать им, менять, то есть такое. Скиллы, я сказал скины, скиллы.
I know one of the things you guys mentioned before we spoke here was the inspirations of kind of Darkest Dungeon and that coming into it.
Во многом говорит, что они отталкивались во многом, короче, от Darkest Dungeon, то есть подземелья и драконы. Ой, подземелья и драконы, Darkest Dungeon. Игра, блин, господи, что я несу? Извините, я там маленько все уже не могу.
It might take time for characters to heal, like they can be
от Darkest Dungeon они во многом отталкивались, когда делали игру.
And those things take time to heal, and different injuries take longer. Like if you get a light laceration, he might be ready for combat in a week. But if someone gets like a broken leg, they might be out for a couple months.
Ну, собственно, он, кстати, про Dungeon Dragons что-то говорил, то есть прям что типа тоже вдохновлены в каком-то смысле Dungeons and Dragons, то есть подземелья драконы как раз таки именно.
That's right, you jump in there.
All right, sure. So you have to manage, the recruitment obviously first and foremost, and that was just a violent death right there that just occurred. And so you manage.
По-моему, затянул немножко он про свою игру.
Aspect, and then you manage when you're recruiting someone, you have to manage the contracts. So the contracts kind of work like sports contracts, basically. So you sign someone, and they'll be with you for 5 years at a certain amount of gold per year. And then once that's up, you gotta renegotiate a new contract. And then aside from that, you also have to kind of manage each individual's happiness a little bit. So if you're not using them, or you're not using them in the way they want to be used, or you're making choices that they don't necessarily agree with, they're gonna have problems with that, and they might end up leaving your company. So you have to manage that aspect, and then as well with the whole overworld, there's a bunch of different factions. So you have to kind of manage your relationships with all these different factions, choose who you want to ally yourself with, and be wary of who you make enemies with, because they might send bounty hunters after you and stuff like that. So there's a decent amount of management to go on, but there is no base that you have for your company, but there is a skill tree that you can work towards getting different upgrades.
I gotta tell you, Football Manager, but for D&D nerds, is something that appeals to me on a deep level. So I'm very much looking forward to this. Thank you to both of you.
В общем, все, он закончил говорить, и сейчас нам покажут что-нибудь новое. Я надеюсь, интересное на этот раз. Пожалуйста, господи. Сколько уже можно? Я понимаю, что самое интересное все-таки через час на Sony, но... Блин, ребят.
For even more Summer of Gaming goodness, download the TikTok app, follow IGN, and search IGN Summer of Gaming hashtag to find a slew of bonus gameplay clips and upload your very own epic gaming moments.
Хэштеги, тиктоки, твиттеры и все в таком ключе. Это нормально.
About Foreclosed, and although it might sound like a depressing game about real estate and mortgages and your landlord, it's actually a colorful cyberpunk adventure. Here's your first look at some gameplay.
Немного геймплея покажут. чего-то, какой-то игры, какой-то киберпанк игры.
Foreclosed is a gorgeous new cyberpunk game with a beautiful graphic novel aesthetic. Here to tell me about it are Andrea and Laura
графическая
from
новелла
NTAB
по
Studios.
киберпанку.
Welcome.
По-моему, та, которую показали вот до этого уже.
So Foreclosed is set in obviously a beautiful cyberpunk dystopian future. Can you tell me a little bit about what this universe
Да,
is
это вот это,
like, who
которое
the main
первый показали,
character is,
собственно,
and
самый.
what is being foreclosed exactly?
Okay, yeah. So the main character is Evan Kapnos. You can see him into the gameplay video, and he's the everyday man in this dystopic future. And to tell about this story, we have to explain a bit about the context.
Или это Бу,
in
или
this,
это Во.
In this future, everyone has
Вот да, так,
brain
ну
implants,
да, примерно
and
такой, но
brain
тут
implants
немножко
are
он
used to
всратый.
be connected
Чуть-чуть.
with cities,
Можно
so
чуть
to have
поаккуратнее.
any
Ну
kind
да,
of
Самураю
interaction.
Джеку такой стиль подошел
The
бы
key
больше.
concept is that the identity of a person is basically just a bunch of data, and it represents a node into a gigantic blockchain.
Сейчас я одну минуту,
And
я
it's
отойду,
embedded
окно открою, а
into your
то
brain implants.
очень жарко.
So it's something that is given to you by the state as soon as you are born, as a way to interact with the universe. The absurd story of our character takes place because when you are old enough in this universe, companies can buy what we call the identity debt of the citizens. It means that since the implants you get from the state, they have a cost. That cost represents your debt to have an identity in this environment and to interact,
Так, в
to
общем, все, я
have any
вернулся.
kind of transaction with the city, to buy stuff and so on. So companies buy this debt from the state.
Ну вот реально, мне кажется, какой-то стиль немножко всратый, то есть она выглядит максимально неаккуратно, максимально как-то как будто на графике сэкономили чуть-чуть. Может, это, конечно, только мне кажется, и это так и нужно, но типа мне не нравится маленько.
Just like any other goods of the bankrupted company, and
yeah. And like at the very beginning, you just reach the court and do some paperwork just to try to find an escape from this bureaucratic mess, we may say. But what actually happened is that while you're trying to reach the court, some mysterious agents start to chase you and try to kill you. So now you have to find a way to escape from the city before the auctioning, but also not to get killed.
Yeah. Then there's a quick escalation of things that happens to the main character. As soon as you think the story is about fixing the paperwork, basically.
Честно говоря, я практически ничего не понимаю, что они говорят. То есть у них такой акцент лютый, что мне очень сложно понять их. Да, по рисовке это напоминает бордель, но только потому, что это вот такой стиль именно комиксовый, да, то есть... Ну, опять же, у борды намного более аккуратно это сделано. Здесь это не так аккуратно, и это бросается в глаза очень сильно, лично мне.
And we worked really hard to give this feeling. So the game is not an open world game, and it's mainly story driven, but
это не будет открытый мир. Игра будет чисто линейная.
Have a feeling of different levels, or level 1 or level 2 and so on. The storyline builds up as you move into this world, and you will not see loading times or something like that. So it's just a fluid, continuous experience. This is just to make
типа не будет перезагрузки между уровнями, говорит.
It's a fully playable cyberpunk comic book. So this is the key thing. Yeah.
Типа он назвал это полностью играбельным киберпанковым комиксом.
Yeah, explain that, please.
Yeah, so as you're seeing, like implants are extremely important in Foreclosed. They are like your curse and your blessing, and that's because
вот ее я
you
вообще
have
не
an
понимаю.
experimental firmware installed inside your implants, and this firmware is gonna give you like incredible combat skills and powers. You may see inside the video you
Ну
have
типа
like
импланты
telekinetic
дают
kind of abilities, so you
невероятные
can
силы и
lift object,
возможности, скиллы и
throw
так
the
далее.
object through the
Comic
enemy.
Zone 3D,
You can lift your enemy and like freeze them in the
Не,
air.
ну
You
нет,
can
все-таки
slam them
нет.
down. You can
Не
do
надо позорить
this
Comic Zone,
kind of stuff.
пожалуйста.
You also have a very special weapon, which is built to connect and work with your implants. And this is a symbiotic gun, we may call it. So you can actually equip different kind of bullets, and this allows you to turn your weapon in what you want. So let's say you can transform a simple gun into a machine gun, or into
В
an
общем,
explosive
оружие
kind of
можно
weapon. And you
различное...
can also combine different kind of bullets together.
Вернее, свое оружие можно
One thing
трансформировать
that
в
you have to
различное.
take care about
От пистолета
is that
до
because your powers
этого
and your implants are
минигана.
experimental, the system is a bit unstable. So when you use your powers, you're gonna overheat your implant, and you have to take extremely care of the heating level of the device, because if you overheat the implant, you're going to stun. It's a very painful kind of overheat, and you have to wait until the system cools down completely before being able to use your powers again.
Yeah, so it's a continuous balancing of using the and mixing the power, and be careful because of the overheat system. And you the powers are unlockable in a RPG style. So since it's depending from your firmware, it's going to upgrade itself as
RPG-элементы есть именно в плане апгрейда оружия, апгрейда скиллов и так далее.
That way you will basically have some upgrade cycles you can spend to decide what power is most suitable for you. And so you will see also in the gameplay video you can throw stuff in the air. You can use telekinesis to attract objects and use them as shields, basically, to protect yourself. Or you can lift enemies, throw them on the floor, keep energetic shields on yourself.
В общем, различные скиллы, он сейчас объясняет, что различные скиллы есть, можно поднимать врагов, можно себе щиты делать, там, и все такое прочее.
Oh yeah, and like you're also seeing that in the video. You can also hack devices and systems all around, and depending on the device you're hacking, you will perform different acts, we may say. So for example, opening a door or making a cabinet explode, and you can even act brain implants of an unaware enemy.
Yeah, so we can use some stealth elements in some fight. It's not something that is always there, because we have stealth when it makes sense for the storyline, but it's also an ability you have as a player.
Yep.
Well, you've both been clearly hard at work along with the rest of the team. What platforms are you looking at, and what kind of release date are we expecting?
Платформа и дата
For
релиза.
release date, we can just say it's going to be Q2 next year, so 2021.
Yeah.
And platform, we aim to
Во втором квартале
on PC,
2021.
on Xbox, Switch, PlayStation, so all the main
ПК,
platforms.
Switch, PlayStation,
Awesome. Well, thank you so
Xbox.
much for showing off Foreclosed.
На всех
It
актуальных
looks great.
платформах, короче.
Foreclosed has closed for now. We're closed. Don't forget, all summer of gaming long, IGN is asking you, Brian, to donate to worthy causes
Понятно,
by following
про
the links in the
коронавирус
description
там.
of this video
Опять.
or by heading to donate.ign.com. You can give to the COVID-19 response fund dedicated to
Задонатьте
studying,
на помощь
tracking, and
в
combating
борьбе с
COVID-19,
коронавирусом
or to the Bail
и все
Project,
такое прочее.
working
Но
to
это понятно.
reunite families
Это хорошее
separated by
дело.
the mass incarceration system.
And for even more Summer of Gaming goodness, download the TikTok app, follow IGN, and search for IGN Summer of Gaming hashtag for bonus gameplay clips and to upload your own awesome gaming moments. Next up, Blanco's Block Party looks like a cross between Little Big Planet and collecting Funko Pops, but first, a quick break. We'll be right back with more IGN Expo number 2.
IGN Summer of Gaming is brought to you by Fuser, who'll be partying with us all summer long.
Так, ну, смотрим, что будет дальше. В любом случае, у нас осталось до PS5 40 минут, поэтому...
And IGN is here to bring you the latest PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X news and analysis in our new weekly show, Next Gen Console Watch 2020. We'll bring on the experts to discuss and analyze all the latest developments around these new consoles. From frame rates, services, features, peripherals, and even all the new tech jargon, Next Gen Console Watch 2020 will keep you up to speed on everything leading up to the next generation of gaming. Join us every Friday for a new episode.
Ну, сейчас понятная реклама пойдет.
Not only is IGN the world's biggest media brand for games and entertainment, but we also have a team of some of the world's biggest fans of your favorite franchises. From breaking news and exclusives, never-before-seen looks at movies and games, to reviews, let's plays, and live streams, IGN brings you all the coverage you need, no matter where you are. Whether you're on IGN.com, the IGN app, YouTube, Facebook, or Snapchat, we've always got you covered. IGN, the number one source for all games and entertainment
В общем, по-моему, они слишком много рекламы пихают, потому что это достаточно такое себе.
That covers all the day's news about games, movies, comics, and of course more. This is our daily live show that takes a rotating cast of IGN talent, going over all the latest news of the day.
Этот чувак с бабочкой, кстати, на кого-то похож капец сильно. Только понять не могу на кого.
At 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, and you can find us on Mixer.com/IGN, YouTube.com/IGN, and Twitch.tv/IGN. See you there.
If you're not following IGN on social media, what are you waiting for? We're constantly updating our feeds to bring you the latest.
Понятно, давайте дальше. Я не собираюсь сейчас на вас подписываться нигде.
The best user-generated videos and art, memes, and a whole lot more. Be part of the conversation throughout the year. Follow IGN on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, and Snapchat.
Ну, нет, на самом деле, нет.
You are a good giraffe, and that's why I love you. Yeah. Oh, hey, Sydney. Welcome back. Question, do you think children's toys come to life when no one's looking at night and you need friends?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, they made like 4 movies about it, so it has to be true, right?
What about high-end designer vinyl toys for artsy collectors such as myself and my friend, the giraffe?
You know, they probably come to life too, since there's going to be a video game about it, and video games are pretty realistic.
They certainly are, and so is my giraffe. I can't fault that logic anyway. The game's called Blanco's Block Party, and if I'm not mistaken, we've killed enough time with this fake back and forth for me to queue up an exclusive interview with one of the developers, so let's check it out.
Sweet, let's see it.
Let's see it.
Blanco's Block Party is a game about a bunch of little vinyl figurines that come to life and get into all sorts of trouble. Here to tell me about it is Jamie Jackson, the Chief Creative Officer for Mythical Games. Jamie, how's it going?
Hey man, what's up, Max?
Who are these Blancos and who allowed them to have this block party? Tell me about this game. Tell me what's going on here.
Oh man, so Blancos, like you said, they're vinyl.
Blanks, это вот как раз такая та игра, как раз о которой я сказал, которая прям кооперативное безумие. Я повторю этот термин, он классно очень описывает подобные игры, которые можно просто с друзьями зарубиться и угорать. Да, собственно, он говорит, что да, эта игра идеально подходит, чтобы зарубиться с друзьями и так далее.
So that's a huge part of the whole like vinyl doll collectible scene, people customizing sort of existing figurines and stuff. Can you talk a bit about how in-depth the user-created content side of this is?
Yeah, sure. So from a Blanco side, we're actually working with a bunch of really cool vinyl artists to come and have their artwork in-game on Blancos, much like in the real world.
Что самое интересное, в этой игре будет контент, который могут делать сами игроки, то есть уровни будут от игроков, возможность загрузить. И это интересно, на самом деле, для подобной игры.
or they can actually drop gameplay in really easily. And it's not about
Ну,
being
неплохо,
having
по
to
крайней
code or
мере.
open any boxes to type in code. It's everything can be done with a game controller. You just have to drop a toy in, really easy parameters to set. Season 1, we're going to be dropping things like this, shooting and racing, vibe collecting, kind of platform style gameplay. The key part is it's really easy to build levels.
Cool. So you're talking about controllers. What platforms are you guys looking at?
So we're going to be launching on PC later this year, and we're going to be announcing our console strategy in a couple of weeks, hopefully.
Ну, на
Very
ПК
cool.
и
Now
на
this is going to
консолях.
be a free-to-play game, is that right?
Yeah, that's right. It's going to be free to play, so there's going to be a ton of content for players just to come in, play,
Ага,
build,
это будет free-to-play
even kind
игра.
of train up a
Она
Blanco
будет
to a point.
бесплатная,
But then, if
но
you want all the cool Blancos and
какой-то
that kind of
контент
stuff,
будет
that's where you're going to be
внутриигровой у
using
нее там.
in-game currency
Платный, так
to
понимаю.
buy those.
Now, I can tell by the shelf behind you, you are a fan of urban vinyl and designer toys. Can you talk a little bit about some of the artists you've got involved so far?
So we're not getting into the artists yet, but if you know anything about this world and any of those artists that are in there, we've definitely got an amazing lineup coming.
Ну, выглядит
And, you know, we're
неплохо
doing a
для
lot
вот
of
такой
seasonal
именно
content now, so we're going to just keep
компанейской
getting better and better.
развлекухи.
Nice. Now, so in terms of sort of how you know, how you said you're gonna have racing and shooting and obviously plenty of platforming. What are you using to determine sort of what direction you want to go with things in terms of sort of you see?
Sorry, I missed that last bit.
Oh, sorry. Like what? Are you going to be sort of following the community's lead in terms of this, or do you guys have like a pretty strict plan in terms of what you want to roll out first and what kind of content you want to let people play around with?
Yeah, I mean, we have a really good idea of what we want to launch, but the main thing for us is to listen to the community as well. So we want to really kind of build for them, because the idea of Blancos is you kind of build what you want to play. That's the kind of approach we're taking with the UGC side. So although we have a ton of plans about what we want to bring, as we get through seasons, we start to see what players do and how they do it differently. We definitely want to listen to them. I think, you know, the big thing for me, having made games for as long as I have, is
Ну, правда, конечно, это, я так понимаю, чисто забеги будут какие-то, и все по уровням. Хотя, в принципе, уровни разные, я вижу, и разнообразие высокое, но посмотрим, как это будет играться на самом деле, когда игра выйдет.
Cool. Now, Mythical is a fairly new studio, is that right? But you've got a bunch of people who have like really a lot of experience and some pedigree. Can you speak a little bit to that?
Yeah, so we're almost coming up to 2 years old. But you know, it was founded by myself, John Linden and Rudy Koch. John and I were both studio heads at Activision, so my background was DJ Hero and Guitar Hero. John and Rudy
В общем, он
both
говорит о
worked a
том,
lot
что
on Call of
студия
Duty, Skylanders
маленькая,
franchises. So, you know, even from just the three of us in the beginning, we kind of had a great
новая.
pedigree, and we've just added to that, bringing in people from the mobile world as well. So having that great free-to-play expertise, World of Warcraft. So the games everyone's worked on have been
Вот,
pretty
собственно, мы
incredible.
видим кадры, как создаются собственные миры игроками.
What kind of lessons did you
собственные
learn
уровни.
from sort of working in the you know, AAA space that you're bringing to the table here and really sort of turning players loose with?
I mean, that's a great question. I think some of the biggest ones was, don't assume you know everything the player's going to do at the beginning. You know, allow a little bit of room for them to make the game their own. I think, you know, you see that in a lot of products these days.
Чем-то похоже на создание чего-либо в Dreams. Ну, не знаю, как-то отдаленно.
That's probably one of the big things. And you know, we've really kind of spent a lot of the first part of this project prototyping and playing with it and thinking about how, you know, how do we want to play with these games? How would we want to build it, and not being a programmer or coder or anything like that. So making sure it's really, really easy to get into, I think, has been the biggest one for me.
We're seeing a lot of level design here. Will the Blancos themselves be customizable? Will people sort of do their own character creation?
There is going to be some things you can do to Blancos. As you play through the game and you play both like in the single player and also in the multiplayer and the kind of UGC modes, you're going to unlock different attachments. So you're going to be able to put different backpacks and jetpacks and various attachments on a Blanco. Some of them will just be cosmetic and just look really cool, but some of them are going to enhance the abilities that a Blanco has. And you can train your Blanco's abilities as you go through a game. So when you get a Blanco at the beginning, it will kind of start at 0, and you can train it to be good at different things. So you can make it really cool at the shooting. You could make it really fast and responsive for the platforming or racing. And we're going to announce some stuff a little bit closer to launch about some of the other things you can do to customize them.
Cool. Now, obviously, free-to-play does make some gamers raise their eyebrows, but we've seen a lot of really sort of successful models lately that manage to, balance making a profit with also offering a good user experience. Can you talk a little bit about how you're approaching monetization here?
Сейчас посмотрим, если после этого они ничего не покажут, прям трейлера нового, а будут также разговаривать о играх, которые уже были показаны, то я, наверное, возьму перерыв на 15-20 минут перед конференцией PlayStation, потому что, честно говоря, мне он нужен уже. Это пошел 5-й час стримов у меня, и я маленько все кончился.
Now, you mentioned some of the team, has a background in Skylanders. The sort of Toys to Life craze hasn't really had the best history recently. Are there any plans to make physical Blankos, or is this strictly going to be sort of virtual collectible?
Куклы, кстати, сделаны прикольно, мне нравится.
Mythical's kind of thesis really is, owning digital content is the future for us. So the thing about Blankos is with each Blanko, you actually own these things, right? So they're yours to do with what you want.
Я так понимаю, скины будут за донат продавать какие-нибудь крутые, по-любому. Раз игра free-to-play, скорее всего, да.
But right now, Blankos is all about digital ownership and you building the games that you want to play.
Awesome. And when are you expecting to sort of launch or have more information about that available?
We're aiming to launch at end of the year, so towards the holiday period. And like I say, we're launching on PC.
На праздники
We're
запускают.
actually going to be having our kind of beta phase sometime towards the end of the year as well.
На ПК, как
and then
минимум.
we're going to be letting you know about our platform strategy pretty soon.
Thanks so much for coming by. I look forward to checking out more about Blanko's Block Party in the near future.
На ПК как минимум запускают и праздники. Ну, то есть Holidays 2020 это рождественские праздники.
Our next exciting under-the-radar pick for check out this game is called Bravery Network Online. It's a competitive RPG with a combat system that's a bit like Pokemon, but if all of the monsters were swapped out with some highly fashionable combatants. Check out some exclusive new gameplay.
Новый эксклюзивный геймплей. Да я, наверное, все-таки справлюсь. Это нужно себя в тонус приводить, потому что я очень давно не делал ни видосов, ни стримил. И это нужно исправлять. Нужно уже как-то брать себя в руки. И это отличный шанс это сделать. Просто высидеть лишние 25 минут сейчас, это не так сложно. И нужно просто себя заставить это сделать. И все. На самом деле. Bravery Network Online. Она мне напоминает максимально Darkest Dungeon, только такую какую-то более милую, что ли. Но музыка какая-то странная, они как будто два трека максимально не похожих наложили друг на друга и выкатили. Это странно.
Like what you see? Then head on over to IGN.com or YouTube.com/IGN to watch the full extended version of this gameplay.
Так, у меня почему-то звук... OBS показывает, что звук из наушников идет в микрофон. Хотя вроде быть этого не должно.
Seth.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, thank you. So let's just start off. I mean, like I was saying, coming to Xbox and Switch. Can you talk more about that?
Yeah, it's super exciting. We're really we've been working on this for a while, and we have been
Spellbreak на Switch и Xbox выходит. У нас есть превью Spellbreak на основном канале, поэтому можете зайти и чекнуть, если хотите. Я не говорю, что она не изменилась с того времени, но это какую-то информацию должно дать о ней, если хотите.
Great. And so it's already on PS4 and PC. Are there plans for
Наверное,
crossplay?
я действительно закруглюсь сейчас на 15 минут. Мне нужно все равно перезапустить стрим будет, потому что нужно будет обновить данные на PS5, метаданные, то есть там описание, хэштеги, понятно, это все внутренняя тема, да. И в любом случае это нужно будет сделать, поэтому я сейчас отключаюсь. Они ни о чем больше новом рассказывать не будут и показывать, скорее всего, нового ничего больше не будут. А уже непосредственно к PS5 мы снова включимся, уже больше компаний, буду не только я, и нормально посмотрим это дело, и обсудим, поговорим, и все в таком ключе.
I feel like a lot of different games handle crossplay different ways. I'm not sure how far you guys are